Okay, so I just want to dedicate this class to Shmuel Zev ben Malka for a refuah shlema. He's the son of one of the members of our class. He just swallowed a coin, and he should have a refuah shlema and an easy procedure. Okay. Um, okay, so here we go. A trivia question. How many times in the Torah does it speak about the menorah? Okay. So I would have, yeah, so not just are we going to discuss the different times that it speaks about the menorah in three different places in the Chumash, but we're going to learn differences between Rashi's approach and the Ramban's approach, which seems very technical, but we're going to really bring it home. Okay, so this week's parsha is Behaalosecha. Behaalosecha is right in the beginning of the parsha, is one of the places, actually the last place, where we're instructed about the menorah. And what does it say? Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, Dabra al-Arin v'amarti Behaalosecha saneres al mol pnei ha-menorah yi'iru shivas haneres. And Rashi explains on the words Behaalosecha saneres, when you light the lamps, and the terminology is Behaalosecha when it goes up. And Rashi says that when the Aaron lights the menorah, he has to make sure that the flame can go up by itself. And then it says Ya'iru, they will give light. Shivas haneres, the seven candles or the seven lamps. Aaron did all this. This is the action of the menorah. Miksha zahav, it's one piece of gold. Ad yirecha ad pircha, from the bottom until it's flowers, meaning including everything, from the base all the way to the details of the flowers. Mikshahi, it's one piece. Kimara sheher Hashem es Moshe, just like Hashem showed Moshe. Kaina says some menorah, like this, he made a menorah. Okay, so I just read a bunch of psukim in Parshas Behaalosecha, and one of the questions that we ask is, why is it necessary in the third time, this is actually the third time we're speaking about the menorah, for the Torah to repeat and tell us that the menorah is made out of one piece of gold? We already know that. We know that from Truman Tetzaveh. And there's also another place where it speaks about the menorah, and that is in Parshas Emor, in Parachav Dalid. Okay, so we have three different places where it speaks of the menorah. We have in Parshas Teruma and Tetzaveh, Parshas Emor, and Parshas Behaalosecha. And why is it necessary to repeat? First question is, why is it necessary to repeat the fact that the menorah is made out of one piece of gold? Okay. And Rashi doesn't even say anything about it. Rashi doesn't question. So the Rebbe is going to have a whole teaching about why Rashi doesn't even say anything. Doesn't say anything, and already there's a incredible teaching. Why isn't Rashi bothered by the fact that it repeats again that the menorah has to be made out of one piece of gold? Okay. So the Ramban suggests that now we're reviewing. We are reviewing everything that was built in the Mishkan, because in Parshas Nasai, the previous parsha, is when we have the Chanukas HaMishkan. The Mishkan was constructed, and then it was all set up, and then Hashem's Shechina comes to rest, And then in Parshas Nasai, we have the Nesiim bringing the karbanos to dedicate the Mishkan.
Also interesting why it's woken up because for Shmini we have like another Hanukkah Sam is there, and Hanukkah Sam Mishkan. It starts over there, and some we have some other parshas, other mitzvahs, other stuff should don't know exactly what. And start when we come back, it's like
Yeah, we did have a teaching about that. We did discuss that. We did. I don't remember all the details, but we did have we did recently learn something about those order of the parshas. Yes. Okay, so the Ramban says, look, now we just had the Nesiim come bringing the karbanos. Now we're reviewing everything about the Mishkan, and so here the Torah repeats about this menorah and that as he made out of one piece of gold to tell us that throughout history the menorah has to be made out of one piece of gold. So Rashi doesn't accept this, because if that was the case, they could have said it, the Torah could have taught us this elsewhere in other two places where we already speaks about the menorah. So then the Orach Chaim comes and tries to give a different explanation, and he says, why do we need to have again being told that the menorah is made out of one piece of gold? Because over here in Parshas Behaalosecha is telling you something very interesting. It says, when you light the lamps, over here, we learn that the lamps, according to the Orach Chaim, were able to be taken off the menorah, cleaned, put new oil on, and then put back on the menorah. So you might think that since I could take the lamps off to clean them and put them back, the same is also with the menorah, that yes, originally it was made out of one piece of gold, but if a branch breaks off, or if I want to break all the branches and glue them back together, that it's okay. So we have to come back and tell you, no, don't learn from the fact that the lamps could come off to tell you that the menorah could be reassembled, but rather it has to be one piece of gold. So again, Rashi doesn't accept this, because why would I, imagine that I could start breaking up the menorah? And also Rashi doesn't even, and on the words, when you raise up the lamps, Rashi doesn't agree with Orach Chaim that you take off the lamps and you clean them out and put oil and put them back. But Rashi has a different explanation. Like we said, that the flames have to be sustained. They have to be able to the flames be sustained on their own. Not that you have to stand there with the candle, but rather that the flame is standing on its own. So Rashi doesn't hold this of the opinion of the Orach Chaim about the cups being able to be removed. Okay, I know this is all very, very technical. Okay. So these are some of the questions that we're asking. And also Rashi says in Parshas Behaalosecha, he describes about these 7 branches, that he says that there were 3 branches on the east and 3 branches on the west. And what happened was, Aharon, when he has to light the menorah, he has to put the wick, kind of tilt the wick facing the middle branch. And we're asking again, why do you have to repeat this? We already know from before that the way the cups were made in the first place was that the cups had like a little tiny mouth where the wick is placed. So of course, in any way, when you shape the cup and you make a little like a little lip for the wick, anyway, the wick is anyway facing the center. So why do you have to again repeat? Why do you have to repeat this concept of that the lamps have to face the center? So here's one extra detail, that not only does the cups have a little lip facing the center, but also the wick itself, you have to bend towards the center. So basically, it seems like there's a little bit of repetition here about the discussion that all the lamps have to face the middle branch, the fact that it has to be made out of gold, the whole thing has to be made out of one piece of gold. It seems repetitious. It seems that we know this already. Yes, there is one more detail here, that it's not just the cups themselves, the lamps themselves, the glasses themselves, but rather it's also the wick. But in general, why the repetition? And in order to understand, in order to answer this, we're going to compare and contrast the three different places where it speaks about the menorah. And we're going to see that Rashi's opinion and the Ramban's opinion of why the repetition and what we learn from each time that the menorah is repeated, it's a different flow. It's a different mindset. It's a different approach. And ultimately the lesson is going to be a different ways of two different models of serving Hashem. Okay, so basically, if you look in this chart over here, you have Truma Tetzaveh, Emor, and Behaalosecha. Those are the three names of the Parsha, all the way on the right side. You have Rashi's opinion and the Ramban's opinion. Okay, so in Parshas Truma and Tetzaveh, according to Rashi, what are we learning in Parshas Truma and Tetzaveh? So I'm reading straight from the box. We learn about the menorah, Rashi, according to Rashi, I'm reading the column of Rashi first. We learn about the menorah in the context of the construction of the Mishkan. And the role of the menorah is to illuminate. Okay, so according to Rashi, Parshas Truma and Tetzaveh, when we speaks about the menorah, it's just to tell you the menorah is one of the vessels of the Mishkan, and its job is to illuminate. That's Rashi's opinion. The Ramban says that in Truma and Tetzaveh is actually the instruction about lighting the lamps. Already in Truma and Tetzaveh, we already have the mitzvah of lighting the menorah. Okay, next parsha, moving along to Parshas Emor. According to Rashi, in Parshas Emor, this is the first time that we have the mitzvah to light the menorah. And according to the Ramban says, no, we already have the instruction about lighting the menorah, but here there's a further detail about lighting the menorah, and that is that until now, we only learned that you have to light lamps. Here in Parshas Emor, there's a new detail. You can't just light lamps, but you have to light lamps on the menorah. And the third, going to Behaalosecha, moving on, according to Rashi, what do we learn in Parshas Behaalosecha? We learn about the Maaseh HaMenorah. That actually says Maaseh HaMenorah in Pasuk Daled in Parshas Behaalosecha, meaning that the focus is on the menorah itself, on the making of the menorah. The menorah itself needs to be fashioned from one piece of gold. That's what Rashi says. And the Ramban says it's just another further detail about lighting the menorah. Throughout history, the lamps always have to be facing the middle column. Okay, so basically, according to Rashi, there are three different parshias. Each one is saying each one is talking about something completely different. One, the construction. Two, the mitzvah to light. And three, about the menorah itself. But the Ramban has a different approach. He's saying the focus is only about the actual lighting. And the lighting is broken up into three different parts. Part number one is the mitzvah to light. The second time it speaks of the menorah, it's giving you one more detail about the lighting, which is you can't just light lamps, but you have to light it on menorah. And the third time it speaks about the menorah, it's saying about the lighting. When you light the menorah, you can't just light on any menorah, but rather it has to be a menorah where all the lamps are facing the middle. So Rashi's approach is he's focusing on the menorah, while the Ramban's approach is focusing on the lighting. Instructions and details about lighting the menorah, and Rashi is focusing on the menorah itself, meaning you could focus on the actual object of the menorah. Okay. Again, I know that's very technical, but it's all going to come together. It's going to be very important. Okay. And here, one more difference between Rashi and the Ramban, which I already alluded to, and that is Lama Nismacha. Lama Nismacha means, why is Parshas Behaalosecha coming here right after Parshas Nasai? Why is this Parshas Behaalosecha connected to the previous Parsha? So like I said before, in Parshas Nasai, according to Rashi, in Parshas Nasai, Aaron felt left out of the Chanukas HaMizbeach by the Nesiim. The Nesiim, they all brought a contribution to the Mishkan. Each Nasi brought for their Shevet, and Shevet Levi wasn't represented. So Aaron felt very bad. So Hashem said to him, to light and prepare the menorah for the inauguration of the Mishkan is greater than what the Nesiim did. Don't feel bad. Comforting Aaron, don't feel bad, because what your job to prepare the lamps and to light the lamps for the inauguration of the Mishkan, that is even greater than what the Nesiim brought. Why? For two reasons. The Nesiim, they brought the karban to the Kohen. They didn't actually bring up the karban themselves. They just brought it to the Mishkan, and the Kohanim did it for them. While Aaron, he himself is the one to actually light the menorah. That's one benefit of the menorah versus the karbanos that the Nesiim brought. And another benefit is that the Nesiim brought a karban. Where do they bring it? To the Mizbeach. Where is the Mizbeach? The Mizbeach is in the courtyard. Well, Aaron, where is Aaron lighting the menorah? In the Kodesh, in the Holy, in the section called the Kodesh. Ramban, what does Ramban say? Lama Nismacha, why is Parshas Behaalosecha following Parshas Nasai? Says simply, now that the construction and the setting up of the Mishkan was completed, in Parshas Nasai, the Torah just comes here to wrap up additional details. Okay. We finished one chart, one page. Okay. So now we're going to go back to our question. And the question is, why is it that we have to repeat over here the concept that the menorah has to be made out of one piece of gold, and the fact that all the branches have to face the middle? Okay. So according to the Ramban, which is all focused on the lighting, right? He says there are 3 times the menorah is mentioned: the mitzvah of lighting, then another detail that you can't just light, but it has to be on a menorah, and another detail that you can't just light on a menorah, but the menorah, all the branches have to face the middle. So that's his focus, that's his train of thought, everything about the lighting, that's the Ramban. And he says, why does it, so his opinion, why is it that we have to repeat over here that the menorah is made out of one block of gold? Ramban says you can only light a menorah that is made out of one piece of gold throughout history. Okay, so basically, the only way you could light a menorah is if it's made out of one piece of gold. So the focus again is on the lighting. So again, I'm lighting a menorah. I'm lighting. It has to be on a menorah. It has to be all the branches facing the middle one, and it has to all the middle one, and it has to be all made out of one piece of gold. If not, then it disqualifies the lighting. So again, the Ramban is all about the lighting. The reason why it has to repeat, and it repeats the fact that it's one piece of gold, because this is a detail that's very, very important. Because if it's not made out of one piece of gold, the lighting is not, the mitzvah was not performed. Okay, now we're going to Rashi. What is Rashi's opinion? What is Rashi's approach about why is it that we need to repeat the fact that the menorah is made out of one piece of gold? Remember, it was already told to us in Parshas Truman Tetzaveh. Because in Parshas Truman Tetzaveh, yes, the Torah told us that the menorah has to be made out of one piece of gold. But after it said that, then what happened? The truth is that the Moshe had a hard time, and Hashem showed him what it's supposed to look like. And then the end is that they just threw a piece of gold into the fire, and Hashem did it. But really, the process of what's supposed to happen is you take a piece of gold, then you take a hammer. Obviously, it has to be someone who's very, very talented, and you hammer out the branches and the buttons and the flowers and the cups, upside down cups and everything else. And then you have a menorah. So I started with one piece of gold. And then by the time I'm done, I could forget the branches are coming out of this one piece of gold. And I could forget that as a branch, as a flower, as a button, I could forget that it originated from one piece of gold. So the reason why it has to be repeated over here is that, yes, originally it was one piece of gold, but then we could forget. We forget that we're one. We forget that all the branches came from one piece of gold. So now, after each branch already exists, after there's flowers and details and cups and buttons and everything, you have to be reminded that the menorah comes from one piece of gold. And Rashi's method, what's Rashi's method? What's Rashi's approach? That we need a method to illustrate at all times and from a distance that the menorah is made from one piece of gold. Therefore, the way the menorah is lit is that all the lamps face the center to show that all the branches come from one core. If you're far away and you just see the menorah from a distance, you're not going to think that it all came from one piece of gold. But if all the lamps, the mouth of each lamp, imagine this like cup, and there's like a little lip, and that where the wick goes, and all the wicks are closest to the center, are facing the center, and not only are the wicks facing the center because they're in the lip of the cup, but the wicks themselves are kind of pointed. The tips of the wicks are pointed in. Everything is facing inward to the middle of the menorah. So now when you see that, you're reminded, guess what? This entire menorah, all the details, all the little beautiful little things, everything came from one source, one piece of gold. So over here, Rashi's approach is it's not about another detail about the lighting, but rather it's about Maaseh HaMenorah. The focus is on the menorah itself, on the object, the menorah itself. The goal is that any person at any time will always recognize that this menorah, that all the parts and details of menorah came from one piece of gold. How do we know this? Because all the lamps and all the blue wicks, everything is facing the middle. Okay, so now the question is, why does everything have to be an argument? Rashi has to have his approach, that it's not about the lighting. It's about three different things, about the construction and the lighting and the menorah, the actual menorah. And the Ramban says, no, the three times, it's all three different aspects about the lighting. Why does everything have to be an issue? Like, why are we even discussing this? Like, who really cares?
Teaching us more information.
Okay, so it's teaching us, and it's going to teach us an incredible lesson for our service of Hashem. The fact that Rashi holds, we learn about the menorah three different times. Rashi says each time, you always have to ask yourself, why is he repeating it again? There's a new lesson here. Okay, so Rashi learns 3 different times. The menorah is repeated 3 different times, and what we learn from each time. And the Ramban says, I'm learning something else from the 3 different times. One is focused, Rashi's focused on the menorah itself. The Ramban is focused on the lighting. And these 2 approaches are 2 approaches in how we can serve Hashem. Before we go there, we already know that the 7 branches represent 7 different paths of serving Hashem. What? Okay, so the Alter Rebbe explains this in Likkutei that there isn't just one way to serve Hashem. We have 7 midos, right? We have 7 emotions. There are 7 different paths to serve Hashem. We're all individuals. We're not all cookie cutter, we all have a different derech. And there are 7 main drachim, but I'm sure there are many, many more. So that's number 1. The 7 branches represent 7 different paths of Avodah. And within that, we're going to discuss 2 different models. What does Rashi feel and what does Ramban feel about our service of Hashem? So the Rashi says like this: before we were all born, all of our neshamas came from one place, right? We all came from one place, from one source. Then we come down to this world. And each one of us, we feel I'm my own person. I'm an individual person. And the role of Aharon is to ignite each person, each one of the 7 branches, each kind of Jew. And we're not all the same. Someone sent me a message. He said, I want to know, what is the dress code for the wedding? Are people going to be very dressy or that? I'm laughing to myself. I'm like, this wedding is going to be a mix of people from the entire spectrum. Like, what do you, and I wrote that to her. I was like, it's not, everyone's going to be, wearing the same thing from the same store. No, it's going to be very, very different because there's different. I didn't want to stress from, not from. I said, oh, the groom's mother is from Argentina. The groom's father is from Israel. They're from Florida. I was like this is like international, I'm sure in Israel and Argentina, the dress is, every place has their own, way of dressing, whatever. But I'm saying, so we start out in heaven, we're all come from the same place, right? And then we come here and we're all very different. The job of Aharon is to light every single person, whether you're from, whether you're not from, whether you're whatever country you come from, whatever the background you have, whatever it is, and to light us up until we're shalheves eilim e'Allah, until we could stand on our own, and wake us up and ignite us until we realize that we're all one. And that's why it's so important, the 3rd time we're speaking about the menorah, to tell us the menorah is all made out of one piece of gold. We knew that before we came down here, that we're all one. But then we forget. Each one of us is a different branch. Each one of us has a different journey, a different path, different ways of serving Hashem. So Rashi comes to tell us, always remember, first it's true that I told you in the beginning that it's one piece of gold. But now once the branches came out, you could forget. So it's very, very important to remind you that in order for you to fulfill the mitzvah, in order for this to be considered a menorah, in order for it to be a menorah, it has to be out of one piece of gold. If it's not out of one piece of gold, it's not a menorah. It's a candelabra. I don't know. It's something else. It can only be a menorah if it's made out of one piece of gold. So we have to get every neshama to shine so that they can reconnect to their source. and sense their absolute oneness. And so basically that we should discover our core and our unity and discover that we're one. And it should come it should come in a way of it should come in a way of miracles, not in a way of October 7th, that we should realize that we're one. That's Rashi's approach. And Bela said last time, says all the experiences they have during the week is for the class. So in the Uber on the way here, I jotted down a bunch of examples. Okay, but I'll first explain the Ramban's approach, and then we'll go to that. Okay, what does the Ramban say? The Ramban, Rashi is Pshutei Shel Mikra. Rashi has to tell you the pshat, but the Ramban, he could give you more beautiful words that are more esoteric. And he says, limtzo chen, and chen stands for chachman nesteres, hidden wisdom. The Ramban takes you to a deeper esoteric place. And the Ramban is not satisfied with that. It's not enough. It's not enough that you were once one, and then you became a branch, and now realize your oneness again. But he says no. Ramban's emphasis is on the lighting, not on the lighting, on the branches, on the lamps, on individuality. It's not enough that you say, okay, recognize we're all one. But after you recognize that we're all one, you can't stop there. The focus is on your talents, on your abilities, on your individuality. The first step is realize that you're one. Realize that we're all on the same team. Once we realize that we're all on the same team, that we're all serving Hashem, that we're all here for the same purpose, now use your individual talent to get the job done for everyone. Which means, according to the Ramban, he says, the unity that we achieve once we are in touch with our essence, the menorah is made out of one piece of gold, and all the branches have to face the middle one, because we have to get in touch with our essence. But then that essence, that unity, has to be felt and experienced by the individual using his path and abilities to make a dir b'tachtainim. Which means that it's not enough to just discover the unity, but we have to take that unity and bring it into the reality of the world. Don't stop by the unity, but now take that unity, take that power, and bring it into this world, meaning reveal godliness in this world and make a home for Hashem in this world. It's not enough that we're one. Now that we discover that we're one, now we have to now that we all have to do our part to reveal this oneness in this world, which is basically the concept of a dir b'tachtainim, making this world into a dwelling place, into a home for Hashem. And this is a deeper layer, a deeper understanding. Not just we're one, we're all one, but take this oneness and show the world this oneness. The oneness is Hashem. Bring the godliness, bring the oneness to the world. What does this look like? If Esti Fried was here, she would say to me, practically speaking, what are you talking about? Right? Okay. So what does it mean, a dir b'tachtainim? Making this world into a dwelling place for God after we already revealed the oneness. Okay. There's a cup of juice here. Thank you, Bela, for always remembering. Okay, so what did I just do? I just elevated the orange juice, right? But if we're all on the same team, The goal is that this orange juice should be elevated. It doesn't matter who does it. So you're not going to run over here and quickly grab the juice from me to make the bracha yourself, because we're all on the same team. As long as it gets elevated, it doesn't matter. Okay, now orange juice, Baruch Hashem, there's enough for everyone. But
I feel like I'm thinking of my kid. Like I asked one kid to do something, the other kid like quickly
yeah,
runs.
yeah, yeah, yes.
To do it before
Right,
the other kid.
right, exactly. I remember Rabbi Shais Taub saying this, explaining Dira B'Tachtainim. And he says it with a brownie. He says, you're at the Kiddush, and there's one brownie left. So you say, quickly, I'm going to take the brownie and make the bracha and elevate it. But maybe I really don't need the calories. I really don't need the calories, but I'm going to, I want to elevate that brownie and I'm going to grab that brownie and eat it. But if you're worried about a dir b'tachtainim, then it doesn't matter. I can leave the brownie on the plate for someone else. The brownie will get elevated. That's the main thing. It doesn't, we're all working on the same team. I don't have to grab it because, let someone else, let someone else who needs the calories uh-huh. So remind me. I for some reason I remember I remember the brownie at the Kiddush. Oh, I do remember that now. Everyone is sitting who's describing the dessert. I do remember that now. Thank you. So yes. Okay. Okay. So that's that's an example. If I have to grab the brownie, then there is no unity. I haven't reached a level of unity. I'm still worried about myself, about my brownie points, pun intended. I'll give you so I'll tell you the story that so inspired me. But now I'm looking at it from a little bit of a different light. And again, there are 7 paths, so it is a path. The story is, I went to a lecture in Lakewood and I heard the story years ago, and it had a very big impact on me, and I always remember this story. And I'm just want to discuss it around the table here. But this is the story. The story is, and I probably mentioned it before, it was during the time of the Holocaust, and there was a rabbi and his friend. And Pesach was coming, and the rabbi says to his friend, I really, really, really want to have matzah on Pesach. Is there anything you could do? You work in the kitchen. Could you please figure something out how to make matzah for Pesach? And he nudges him and he nudges him and he nudges him. And the friend is like, I'm risking my life to make matzah. But finally he agrees, and somehow he gets a hold of flour, I don't know, and he makes some kind of oven, and somehow he makes 2 matzahs. And he takes these matzahs and he hides it in his prison clothes. He's clutching it trying to hide it, and he's on his way to the barrack. And all of a sudden, a Nazi sees him holding something or trying to hide something, and he beats him. He beats him. He almost kills him until the Nazis called to go somewhere else, and leaves him bloody on the floor. And the Nazi leaves, and the matzahs were broken. And he's able to whatever he's able to salvage. I don't remember. Maybe I'm making a mistake. Maybe he had more. Maybe he originally made more than a few matzahs. I don't know. Anyway, whatever matzah he was able to salvage and bring back was only enough for one person to fulfill the mitzvah. And so the rabbi says to him, I really want to eat the matzah. The guy's like, are you kidding me? I almost died for this. So he said, you know what? I'll make a deal with you. I'll eat the matzah and you'll get the mitzvah. And so what happened, came Pesach night, and he's so busy making the bracha on the matzah with so much enthusiasm and passion, he gets a little too excited. The Nazi guard comes in and kills him on the spot. Then, I don't know if it was the next year, Pesach, I don't know how much time passed. In the meantime, the war was over, and the friend, he survived the war. And he has a dream. And in his dream, the rabbi comes to him in a dream and says, I know that we made up that you get the mitzvah and I just get to eat the matzah. But I see now in heaven the greatness of the mitzvah. I want to know if I could have the mitzvah also. And he didn't know what to do. And he went to his rabbi, and the rabbi said, let him have it. You have many more opportunities to do the mitzvah, let him have it. And that's the end of the story. But in that model, it's a beautiful, inspiring story. And the amazing part of the story is that a mitzvah is so valuable that a neshama will come from heaven to beg, could I have the mitzvah? It was very inspiring to me. But now looking at it from a different perspective, if we're all on the same team, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who actually ate the matzah.
Then why are we all eating matzah? Why isn't it just one person doing the mitzvah? There's still something about everybody doing.
Okay, so what we're saying is like this: if we're all on the same team, then we want to elevate. Why are we all eating matzah? Because first of all, we all have a mitzvah to eat the matzah. But I'm saying,
It's nuanced.
it's nuanced.
It's not about the Olam Haba. It's about
Exactly.
making a dwelling place for Hashem.
Exactly.
If the goal was to get Olam Haba, then it has to be you. But if the goal is to make a dwelling place for Hashem, then it doesn't matter who does it.
Okay, so I'll tell you a story. Now, Baruch Hashem, we all have access to matzah. But I don't remember exactly the details. Well, matzah was very, very precious and not easy to come by. Okay, so I'm trying to remember. I don't want to mix up stories, but imagine a situation where there's a very, very limited matzah. I'm trying to. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not messing up the story. But there is a story about matzah where every person was supposed to get 3 matzahs. And one person came to the rabbi and said, please, please, I need matzah, not just for me, but for another family. And the rabbi was like, no, it's 3 matzahs per family. Everyone has to, and he begged and begged and begged, and he ended up getting 6 matzahs. Then at the end right before Pesach, this individual comes back to the rabbi and he says, here, I'm giving you back 3 matzahs. I know that you gave all your matzahs away and you didn't even have for yourself. And that was the case. He took 6 because he knew the rabbi would be so good. He'd give out matzahs, and then there'll be another family that comes, another person that needs, and he won't have to give him, and he'll give his own. So a person could say, listen, and it's true. There is a kav, there is a branch, there is a way that says, no, this is my matzah, ad kan. I could give everyone, but I need 3 matzahs for myself. What's for me, I can't, what I need, if I have 2, I'll give you. But if I only have 1, I can't give you it because I need that. But if you come from a different perspective of it's about the Tereb Tachtainim, it's not about my Olam Haba. So if I only have 3 matzahs and there's a person that's coming and asking for it, who's to say that his mitzvah is not greater than mine? So it's about making this world into a home for Hashem. It doesn't matter if there's only 3 matzahs. It doesn't matter who's going to eat it. If there's plenty of matzah, everyone should eat matzah. But I'm saying if you come to a situation where there isn't enough, it's not about me and my Olam Haba, but we're all one. We're all one. So if you could do the mitzvah, go ahead.
It's also like when it comes to this question of someone burning Torah, and we ask to do the mitzvah. What's greater, for him to stop learning Torah and do the mitzvah, or
If there's someone else who could do the
so
mitzvah.
for someone else that could do the mitzvah, then he's not having to do it. Same idea. That's what you get done. That's
Right.
done by me. I know for me, it was like a very helpful way of making like decisions, like whatever, precedent, opportunities, things like that. And even if, with an opportunity, I just want to put something out there, that my head, I know that you get done by people, doesn't necessarily have to be me, if I have something else to have. But also consider whether it's like.
Right. So there's two things of teamwork over here. There's one part of teamwork is me and all the other Jewish people. And there's another part of teamwork is me and Hashem. And the 7 branches could represent 7 different types of Jews. The 7 branches could also represent within me 7 different parts of my life. Not always is every single day do the things that I need to do to fulfill my mission every single day something that I want to do. The person who dedicated the class for, trust me, she doesn't want to be in the hospital right now. She'd rather serve Hashem in a different way. But if I'm on Hashem's team, and for some reason Hashem needs me to be in the hospital today, then Hashem, whatever you want, I'm yours. And if we, so the first step is that unity piece. And then the second step is once that we're on the same team, to realize that I have to take that unity and make a dir b'tachtainim with it. I jotted down examples, totally random, different examples from the week. Some positive, some negative, whatever. I'm going to do it all, whatever. Time alluding, and I can say some of the negative examples I shouldn't really bring, but whatever. It just to bring a contrast. Okay, I was shopping with my girls, and I was in a basement store, like not like, Seasons or something like that. I was in a store that was in someone's house, and the total of my purchase was $250.50. I had $250 cash. Technically I could have given a credit card for 50 cents, whatever it is. And I'm standing there. I have $250. I'm looking in my pocketbook for 50 cents. I don't have 50 cents. You're talking from religious people. There's a whole bunch of people behind me on the line, and I'm laughing to myself. For 50 cents, I understand, you're just a worker here, it's fine. I sent my kid to the car, she found $1, and it was extra 3 minutes, and it was fine. But what if I didn't have the extra $1? If we're all on the same team, I understand it's a business, and maybe I'm just rubbed me the wrong way. But I was like, you could tell a person, you're a very good customer. Next time you come, could you bring 50 cents? Or or maybe the next person on the line could say, here's 50 cents. I was just like in a little bit of a state of shock, like that, like the 50 cents was as if I was short $50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's one scenario.
It's funny because you could get both times. Like I've had both, where like people are so, and then you get,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, where are you today? Are you on the page of, we're all one. We're all one. The 50 cents might be in my pocketbook, but thanks so much for coming. Good to see you. But we're all we're really all one. So like we're all here. We're all one, and we're all here to serve Hashem. And whether the money is in my pocketbook or in your pocketbook, it doesn't really matter. Contrast that, we took in Shabbos early this week. We had First Friday, and it was 7:00, and we realized that we didn't have enough tomatoes or whatever else it was. So my daughter went to Stop and Shop to buy tomatoes. She left the house. She comes home at 7:10. Shabbos, we're taking in Shabbos 7:30. And she comes in, she's all upset. I lost the credit card. I don't know where, should I go back to the store? I said, don't go back to the store. It's okay. So I just to calm her down, I said, okay, I'll call Stop and Shop and I'll tell them that I lost the card if they find it or if they found it. So I called Stop and Shop and I said, this is my name, this is my number. I'm Sabbath observant. I won't be able to pick up the phone, but I lost my credit card in your store. If anyone finds it, please, call me back or leave a message because I can't pick up the phone on Sabbath. I left my husband's number and that was it. We took in Shabbos and My husband's like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. And then after Shabbos, my husband picks up his phone, and there's a message from Jackie from Stop and Shop. I found your card. The Shabbat told me Havdalah was very close to 10. Stop and Shop closes at 10. She was waiting outside for my husband after the store was closed to give my husband back the credit card. So I'm saying you come the place of humanness where I understand that the fact that that you lose your credit card, okay, of course you go cancel everything, but then you have to all the auto pays has to like be redone, everything like that. It's just and the person, and it was Jackie from Stop and Shop. She wasn't Jewish, but there's a certain sense of we just the fact that we're human and we understand each other, that I go out of my way for you. I was in Seasons yesterday, and there's a lady in front of me and I'm right behind her, and with my shopping wagon, and the lady smiles at me, so I smiled back at her, very friendly, from everything. And then her daughter went to get one other item. The daughter wasn't a 5-year-old girl. It was for sure high school age. And so she had this salad dressing, whatever it is, and she wanted to pass it to her mother to pay for it as well. So I stretched out my hand to help her to pass the dressing to her mother. And I was shocked. She was like adamantly like not like no, like she would not let me pass it to her mother, and she passed me and gave it to her mother directly. And it was like I was like, whoa, I was just trying to help. But like, are we raising our children in a way that we're all, of course you have to be afraid of, we can't just, we have to be safe and can't just talk to strangers and like that. But are we living in a world where I feel, what, isn't it a strange story?
I'm very lost.
I was so lost. It happened to me yesterday.
What's it be?
I
have been reading it wrong.
I have no idea. I was like, I was like, I just like stretched out my hand, and she's like there was like, if I touched it, like it would be like, I don't know, contaminated or something. I don't know. It was very strange. And I was like thinking to myself, I'm thinking about are we raising our children? Are we raising our children that we're all here to serve Hashem? And there's a unity over here, and we're connected somehow, and somehow we're all one piece of gold, or is it each one for his own, each one on his own? So it's funny because my kids, when they cook, they're wonderful in the kitchen, but they each one want to take a project and they want to make it from beginning to end. This is their project. And I laugh and I say, guys, we're all on the same team. Like, if it's okay to help the other person with their project, and it's okay to peel the vegetables for the next kid's carrot kugel or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be, oh, I made this. It's teamwork. It's teamwork. Okay. So a series here, so reminds me. Basically, in the way it works in Chabad is that every Chabad rabbi has their place. The way it works is that every state or country has a head Chabad rabbi, and then they hire or appoint other Chabad rabbis under them in the different places, different areas. So, for example, Chabad of Tom's River, we are a branch of Chabad of Western Monmouth County, Rabbi Chazanov, and there are many other Chabad houses. So we are, we're responsible for Tom's River, Brick, whatever it is, and there's another Chabad that they're responsible for Jackson. So Suri asked me if I could give a class in her house in Jackson. So the first thing that goes to my head, before I could answer her, I have to call Chabad of Jackson and ask if it's okay, because that's their Makam HaShichos, that's their place. So I call Musi. I said, Musi, there's someone that I know for a few years already. She moved to Jackson. Would you be okay with me giving a class in Jackson? She said, Chani, we're all working for the same goal. Go right ahead. And that was very sweet of her. But that might be an easy example. But then there's a harder example. What if you live in Tom's River And let's say the budget for Chabad of Tom's River, let's say it's $200,000 for the year, let's say. And there's a philanthropist in Tom's River who wants to give $1 million. He's looking to give a lot of money, more than what you need. So there's two approaches. One approach is, listen, I don't want to introduce him to anyone else because, I want to have sole rights for this individual. Or you could say, and this actually happened, or you could say, listen, let me introduce this man to Chabad headquarters, and he can give so much, and so many other Chabad rabbis can benefit. And there's two approaches, and there's different approaches. Basically, the exact story is that someone called up the head shliach of New Jersey, and they have a lot more than just what the Chabad house in their particular place needs, and offered to make a simcha fund. Oh, he said he wants to give more money, so the head shliach said, why don't we make a simcha fund? So when there's any Chabad in New Jersey, they're making a simcha, making a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a bris, whatever it is, that they should be able to benefit from his generosity. So so that's an incredible thing. And you realize and you say, listen, I'm not just worrying about me, myself, and I, or me and my community, but rather to have the unity approach, which is, if someone else could benefit, we're all on the same team. My son Mendel and many other Bachurim, on Shavuos, the Rebbe spoke very, very much that all kids, the children are the guarantors to receive the receive the Torah, and therefore all children, even newborn babies, should hear the Aseres Hadibros. So there's something called release time. Release time is that in public school, they give the children 1 hour a week to be released from the regular studies, and Bachurim come and they give these public school kids, a little bit of Yiddishkeit. And there was a whole article on COL about all the Bachurim that on Shavuos, they went to many different places. They walk. It's called Tahalucha. They walk far places to be able to read Aseres Hadibros for kids and make an ice cream party, whatever it is. And my son Mendel and his friends walked for 2 hours to make an ice cream party for the release time kids. So every few Bachurim get another place to go, etc. So they walked 2 hours to make this ice cream party for these release time kids on Shavuos.
Where was it?
My brother, which particular place? I don't know exactly where they walked.
2 hours away from you?
2 hours away from the Ayel. They went to the Ayel. Wherever they are, it gets spread. Everyone has a place where they go. So according to where they are for Shavuos, that's where they'll be asked to go. But people walk much more than 2 hours. Anyway, he walks for 2 hours, and the program is called for like 4 o'clock. And it was supposed to be in a shul. All the kids are coming. And somehow there was a miscommunication. And the message that they were given was that the rabbi said that they should read the Aseres Hadibros from the Chumash. And the Torah was locked up in the Aron Kodesh. And for 2 hours, the boys were trying to figure out, to find who could open up the Aron Kodesh. But you know what? 6 o'clock came, the program was over, all the kids had ice cream, and they did not get a Torah. And they were not able to read the Aseres Hadibros from the Torah for the kids. And then they had to walk back 2 hours. And as you could say, oh my gosh, and how sad. And that's that was my initial, reaction. And speaking to my son, and my son said, Ma, but guess what? I called the rabbi. And I said, thank you so much for allowing us to use your shul. And the kids had such a great time, and they had the ice cream and everything else. But I just want to tell you, for the future, for next year, we really need a Torah. It's not enough for us to. I want to explain that we really need a Torah, and it's not enough for us to use a Chumash. Why did he do this? So next year, the children that will come will be able to actually hear Aseres Hadibros from the Torah. Meaning, if it's just about me and myself and I'm disappointed. I feel like, okay, the kids had a good time. They got a little bit of ice cream. They had a good taste for Yiddishkeit. But then that's it. Okay, move on. But if you lay the ground for next year, so that this mistake shouldn't happen again, or that you could tell the tell the people that sent you, that we should really like double check, make sure that the rabbi understands that there has to be a real Torah, so that it's not just that I feel that I didn't accomplish what I had to accomplish, but I'm going to lay the ground for the next year, even though it's a year away. Why? Because I care about the Dir B'Tachtainim. I care about the mission. It's not about my Olam Haba, but once we have that unity, I care about the kids that are going to come next year for the ice cream party. And we're all on the same team. So it's my obligation, since I know that this detail wasn't perfect this year, to fix it for next year, because we're on the same team. We're on the same team. We're all playing on the same team, and therefore I have to care about all the other people on my team. And when we do that, when we have that, it's just so special. It's just so special. For example, we have our daughter's wedding. So anyone who I asked, would you be able to host guests? They said, of course, with pleasure, yes. And that makes you feel like you're my family. You're my family. I'm not on my own. We're all part of. We're all. If you have a simcha, it's my simcha too. And my simcha will be complete when you have your simcha, because we're all one. And not just that we should feel all one, but then once we have the unity, then on top of that, to use my individual characteristics, ideas, creativity to do the mission, that's what it's all about. That's the Ramban's approach. So even Mushka, she said to me, so Mushka had a baby, and two people reached out to me. One wanted to know what's her registry. One wanted to give her a card, a gift, whatever it was. And Mushka says to me, Ma, I don't even know these people. They're your friends. But she felt so warm and good that other people that she didn't even know. One of them had a baby. Had a baby a couple months ago. So she knows what it feels like. You know what I'm saying? But the warmth. She's like, Ma, I don't even know who it is, and she got me this gift or whatever it is. That's what really makes that you feel like we're one. So I'll just end off one more thing, and that's it. So it's Shavuos, and we're sitting by the Kiddush, and basically Kiddush is almost over. And the woman by the Kiddush, she says, "Today's my birthday." And we're like, okay, if only we would have known, we would have had a cake, whatever it is. P.S. The Gupin family, they sent us a cheesecake. Before Shavuos. And it was already started. One piece was already taken. My son-in-law, Uziel, I wouldn't even think of it. Uziel goes, because I knew it was a started cake. He takes the cake, he puts it back in the box, and he comes in singing happy birthday. She was sure that this cake was bought for her. She has children who are older. She was so touched. She was going on and on, giving everyone brachas. She was like in seventh heaven. I don't know when anyone ever bought her a cake in her life. So I'm saying we felt the unity, but one person was creative enough. It didn't matter that wasn't a whole cake. She didn't notice. She didn't. And after Yantif, she sent my husband an email. Thank you so much for my birthday. And she said, and please, if you have any left over the cake, can you please put it in the freezer for me? It was a very good cake. I have to call Chanukah and tell her. But anyway, the point is, so I'm saying we have the unity, and then you need the individual creativity, the individual talent to make a dir b'tachtainim. She felt so much love. She felt so, it was incredible. And we were happy that she felt that way. Yeah. Well, yeah. Quick thinking. But he did it with such joy that that she didn't even know, like but Yeah, he made it feel so natural. He put the cake back in the box. It was a brand new cake from the store. Yeah, I don't know if he did ask, but I think he asked Rocky first about whatever. It was whatever. It's just okay. So going back, tying everything back together. What lesson do we learn from the menorah? We learn, so Rashi's approach is that the main thing is the menorah itself. That the menorah is made out of one piece of gold. And the ultimate is that you have Aaron lighting up the flames, lighting up the neshama. And the goal is that we should realize that we're one. That we all come from one source. And that's why all the lamps and the wicks, everything has to face the middle. So even if you're far away, you realize, oh, we all come from one. The Ramban says it's not good enough. It's not good enough. After you achieve the oneness, after you realize your essence, after you realize you're all one, we're all on the same team, we're all working for Hashem, we're all and we're all on the same team, and we're all working for Hashem, and sometimes Hashem puts us in places or puts us in situations, and we really don't want to be there, but Hashem, I'm yours, I'm on your team to make this world there. You need me to be in this place. I really don't want to, and there, but I'm here to serve you. I'm here to serve you. And there are and this unity piece is very, very important. And that I'll go back to the crayons. I was thinking, how am I gonna make a flyer? Now, if you go to Google or whatever it is I need to find a menorah that has 7 branches, not 8. And the Chabad, the Rambam, the Rebbe shows from the Rambam that the menorah was diagonal shaped. So I would have to find a diagonal shaped gold menorah with 7 branches. That wasn't happening. So I'm like, okay, what other picture am I doing for this flyer? So Esti Marazev, she posted on one of the Likkutei Sichos groups where the women discussed the Sicha. She said, we have to realize that we're all crayons in a crayon box. So first we have to realize that we're all in this together. We all come from the same crayon box. And yet, each of us is a different color. Each of us has something to contribute that no one else can. And the more crayons in the box, the more we could do. And then someone wrote, what happens if a crayon is broken? The crayon is broken. I don't want to use the crayon that's broken. I have to have unity. That's very great. But what happens if the person I have to have unity with is not someone that I get along with? Maybe they're broken. It's not always so easy to get along with everyone.
Maybe they don't have now.
So she posted a picture. She said, there's a crayon, and then there's a broken or pencil or whatever, a colored pencil, and then there's a broken one, and then you see the colored pencil. Now it's in 2 pieces, but now it's sharpened, and now you have 2 colored pencils. So we're all diverse, we're all different. There's 7 different branches. Sometimes the crayons are broken. Sometimes the people that we have to have this unity with and reveal this essence and unity, sometimes it's hard. But we have to respect the other person. When it comes to respecting another person, having obviously self another person, really reaching that place of unity, sometimes it's because they're broken. I don't even want. I want to find it to say it right. Yeah, I'm good. What did she say? Okay, so I guess it was a voice note. I'll share this. Okay, now I don't see the voice note now. Oh, here it is. Maybe it's this. Let's see if it's this.
My question about the muscle crayons is, let's say part of those crayons are broken. They're cracked crayons or something. The little child will say, oh, I don't want that box of crayons. I want new crayons. They're all nice and shiny. I don't want to have the ones that are cracked or used. I want them brand new. So this is also a very important part of the new show. That's why we need the first of the first, because we have to recognize the beauty in their pure state. We have to go back to that level of essence of purity, not just looking at it with eyes down here on earth.
Okay, so that's one point. But then there's another point. The one point is you see a broken crayon, realize where they come from. We all come from the same piece of gold. But also this concept of that we have to realize this person has these challenges, and they're doing a specific mission for Hashem, and they're in this situation, and that's what's that's what brought them to the state. But to love them and to help them and to fix them and to bring out their potential, and a broken crayon or a broken colored pencil could become two. It could become double power. So not always is the unity easy, but ultimately it's the unity is step one, and it's not just unity, but it's unity plus individuality. Okay.
Powerful lesson. Yeah. Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay.